Hello and welcome. I'm Craig Harrington, and today's topic is Ron Kirk's trade agenda. According to AmericanEconomicAlert.org, Ron Kirk, the current nominee for United States Trade Representative, has made some encouraging proposals for altering American trade policy, but thus far his revisions are not nearly enough. The United States Business and Industry Council agrees with that assessment. USBIC President Kevin Kearns stated that America's trade strategy has been completely broken for years, and that the globalized trading system represents nothing more than a failed business model and is inherently unsustainable. This is clearly evidenced by world events, particularly the economic meltdown of the United States. Kearns also stated that the U.S. needs wholly new trade objectives which are essential to generating domestic production and domestic jobs for our battered economy. That is the only way we can escape this economic meltdown. During his confirmation hearing before the Senate Finance Committee, Kirk did not offer a wholesale change to American trade policies. Instead, he emphasized stronger enforcement of existing rules and existing trade agreements. He wants to adjust the existing agreements. He wants to provide more stringent environmental and labor protections, but he does not want to change the underlying framework. In a rather enlightened moment, Kirk did threaten to walk away from a pending deal with South Korea if that country failed to open its borders to U.S. automakers. South Korea is notoriously protected from U.S. manufacturers, yet the United States allows them free access into our markets. Kearns said that while he agrees with Kirk on the idea that trade policy needs to be adjusted, he believes that minor changes simply will not suffice. Kearns called America's current trade policy an abject failure, and he went on to characterize Kirk's testimony as nothing more than Clintonian. Many of Kirk's proposals seem to reflect the Clinton-era illusions of the 1990s, that trade policy only requires minor changes and fine-tuning. In fact, many of President Obama's top advisors are nothing more than retreads from the Clinton-era administration. Kearns said that going forward, all American trade policy needs to be focused solely on generating domestic production and restoring America's manufacturing base. We needn't worry ourselves with foreign trade relations. Until then, America's economy will never fully recover. It will simply be the same Ponzi scheme, propped up by borrowed money and one burst bubble away from complete collapse. Real recovery and genuine economic health will require a completely new trade strategy for a completely different era. The United States needs to stop over-consuming and stop over-borrowing from foreign funding. We need to start producing, and we need to push toward achieving a stable and sustainable balance of trade. The current rules-based approach is a wonderful idea in a utopian world. Unfortunately, this world is not a utopia. Trade rules are frequently broken by America's trading partners, and they are rarely, if ever, enforced by the very organizations charged with enforcement. China, for example, is well known for its practice of manipulating currency to drastically undervalue its own exported products, many of which end up in American markets. Most Americans simply cannot avoid purchasing Chinese-made goods because those goods are so irresistibly cheap. Kirk and his colleagues need to realize that many of our trading partners simply don't accept the American-style, rules-based approach in their own governments. And why would they? Why would they adhere to a rules-based trade policy when they can break the rules and get away with it? In fact, the overwhelming amount of evidence shows that they haven't adhered to our policy. They break the rules and they benefit. Meanwhile, we're left behind. On behalf of concerned citizens, I'm Craig Harrington with EconomyInCrisis.org News.
Wake up, America! Open up your eyes! Wake up, America! Wake up!
Produced by EconomyInCrisis.org.